Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope everyone is fine. I am also doing great. Today I am here to discuss all the amendment related to CA Final Financial Reporting paper which will be applicable for May 2023 exam. However, there are very few amendments related to CSR chapter, but we all know that whatever amendment given in RTP are always important from examination point of view. Therefore, discussion is required. So we'll discuss all the amendment today only. But before I start discussion, I just one second want to inform you that I have already uploaded all my revision lecture for FR both in English and Hindi language in my YouTube channel. I'm getting a huge response from my students that now they are able to prepare FR easily with the help of the revision lecture. Now, if you have not started FR preparation or you have started FR preparation but you are not able to revise by your own properly, so I will suggest that you can take the help of my revision lecture, for which the playlist, the link of the playlist is already given in the description of this video. So if you are finding trouble, means you are not able to revise FR in a given time frame by your own, so you can take the help of that revision lectures. Correct? Understood? Now can we start a discussion of FR amendment? Before I start, you need to download the RTP of May 2023 exam from either ICAI website or from the link given in the description of this video. Okay, I hope you have all downloaded the RTP. So can we come to the RTP? Yes sir, we can start with RTP. So you can see this is the RTP applicable for May 2023 exam. Correct? In this, what they have given, amendment to companies CSR rules 2014 issued on 28 September 2022, applicable for May 2023 exam. So there are 5 amendments that we need to understand. Correct? This all amendment, even though it might happen, there are some points which are theoretical point, may be important from exam point of view. Correct? Yes sir. Let us start the discussion. First amendment is related to constitution of CSR committee if the company has an outstanding amount in unspent CSR account. So what is unspent CSR account? We all know that if suppose the amount of CSR expenditure is less than the specified limit which have been given under section 135 of Companies Act, then of course there is a shortfall. So as per the rules, that shortfall need to be deposited in a scheduled bank in a special account that is known as unspent CSR account, if the company has some ongoing project related to CSR activities. Correct? I hope you remember this point. So now one point has been added in the rule that any company which has an outstanding balance in unspent CSR account need to constitute CSR committee and are required to apply all the relevant provision of section 135 of Companies Act. Understood? Correct? Let us read what is given. You can see what is given. A proviso has been added under rule 3.1 stating that a company that has any amount outstanding in his unspent CSR account should constitute a CSR committee and comply with the relevant provision of section 135 of Companies Act 2013. Understood? Simple point. Second point what we need to discuss about amendment is omission of one para in the rule. What is that point which was omitted that we need to understand? Previously there was one para given. The para was that every company that ceases to fulfill the criteria prescribed under section 135(1) of Companies Act for 3 consecutive annual financial year, is not required to constitute a CSR committee. Correct? Means if a company ceases to comply with the requirement of section 130, whatever criteria given under section 135 of Companies Act for 3 consecutive financial year, then they are not supposed to constitute CSR committee. However, this was not a relevant point. I will say this was not a relevant point. Therefore, we are not discussing this point in class also. Now this point has been deleted from the rule. So this point you can see such. Now as per the amendment, this rule 3.2 has been omitted. Understood? Correct? Yes sir. So this point was not relevant, therefore we were also not discussing this point in the class also. Correct? Understood. Now the next point related to amendment is included in the list of the entities that can be engaged as an implementation agency. Now, whatever CSR activity we need to perform, we can perform, means any company can perform directly by their own, or they can hire an implementation agency which can perform CSR activity on behalf of companies. Correct? Understood? Implementation agency. However, this is also a point of law subject. I will say they will not ask a question related to this in FR exam, but amendments are always important, and these amendments are given in RTP, therefore can be asked as a theoretical question also. Understood? So what point has been added here? New class of entities exempted under section 10 clause 23C, which may be approved by the principal commissioner or commissioner, have been included as implementation agencies. Correct? So a new class of entities are added as implementation agencies. These entities can be any fund or institution established for a charitable purpose. Correct? Or it can be any trust or institution wholly for public religious purpose. Correct? Or it can be any university or other educational institution which are not for the purpose of profit, or any hospital or other institution for reception and treatment of persons suffering from illness, etc. So these are some entities which are now included as an implementation agencies. Understood? Correct? I will say theoretical point. I don't know whether this type of question will be asked or not, but amendments are always important, so be done, can be asked in exam. Yes sir. Then the next point, which may be important from exam point of view, I will say out of all these amendments, this can be important, which can be asked in exam. The change in the limit of expenses incurred toward impact assessment. Now, as per the CSR rule, entity need to perform impact assessment. But which entity need to perform impact assessment? What company rules used to say that every company having an average CSR obligation of 10 crore or more, any company having an average CSR obligation of 10 crore or more, for what? In the 3 immediately preceding financial year. Means if CSR obligation, average CSR obligation is 10 crore or more in preceding 3 financial year, then entity, means company, should undertake an impact assessment through an independent agencies of their CSR project. Means they need to undertake impact assessment of their CSR project through an independent agencies. Correct? But impact assessment need to be carried only for some CSR project which will fulfill some condition. So what was that condition? CSR project having an outlay of 1 crore or more, or which have been completed not less than 1 year before undertaking the impact study. Means impact assessment need to be carried on by independent agency only for those CSR project for which outlay is what 1 crore more, and which has taken more than 1 year for completion. Understood what I am saying? Yes sir. Now this is not an amendment. Amendment is related to the expenditure which has been incurred for this impact assessment, whether it will be allowed as a CSI expenditure. So previously it was allowed, now also allowed, but there is an amendment in the amount of expenditure which will be allowed as CSR expenditure. Correct? So what they want to say is such a company may book such expenditure towards CSR for that financial year. Means any expenditure incurred on impact assessment can be booked as CSR expenditure for that financial year, but the limit was which should not exceed 5% of total CSR expenditure for that financial year, of 50 lakh, whichever is less. Means previously it was how much? It was 5% of total CSR expenditure, or 50 lakh, whichever is less. But now there is amendment, now 5% is reduced to what? 2%. So amendment is what? Now it is 2% of the total CSR expenditure of that financial year, and 50 lakh, whichever is higher. Now it is whichever is higher. Previously it was whichever is less, now it become whichever is higher. So now the amount of expenditure which can be considered as amount of expenditure of impact assessment which can be considered as CSR expenditure is 2% of total CSR expenditure of that financial year, or 50 lakh, whichever is higher. Understood? Have you understood? Correct. This is important. I think from my point of view, out of all amendment, they can ask a question related to the expenses incurred towards impact assessment. Of course, they will give you the total CSR expenditure. Correct. They will give you the total CSR expenditure. So you need to calculate 2% of total CSR expenditure of 50 lakh, whichever is higher. That amount is allowed as what? Expenditure as CSR expenditure. Correct. Yes. Then revision in Annexure 2 and E form of the company. This amendment is related to disclosure purpose. This you can read by your own. I don't think so this type of question will be asked in FR exam, but you can read the annexure will include now executive summary, disclosure on CSR spend, additional disclosure on unspent CSR amount. You can read by your own. I hope these are the entire amendment for CSR chapter which you have now understood. Correct? Understood. Now you can see they have given one more point, point number 2 in RTP, Companies Indian Accounting Standard Amendment Rules 2022. But this amendment is not applicable from this upcoming attempt. This amendment was applicable from November 2022 only. Means already we have done a discussion on this amendment. Correct? Are you getting what I am saying? But why they have given in this RTP? Because till now this amendment has not been included in ICAI study material. Therefore, they are informing you that these are the points which has not been included in ICAI study material, which is applicable for May 2023 exam. Therefore, do it separately. Out of this all amendment, already we have done discussion. You can go through that amendment video. But I will say the two amendments which are important. I will say that I will discuss this point number A and point number 2. Means amendment related to Ind AS 16 and amendment related to Ind AS 37 is very important for May 2023 exam. Correct? Yes. So you need to concentrate in these two amendments. I will do discussion on this only. Correct? So what they are saying, Ind AS 16, the amendment, we all know that the cost of testing will be added. Cost of testing will be added to the cost price of PP. Means any testing cost to understand whether the asset is performing or not performing will be added to what? The cost price of property, plant and equipment. Correct. Now we also know that any proceed from the sale of product, correct, any sale proceed from the sale of produce from during that testing period will be deducted from the what? This cost of testing, and net amount will be capitalized. This we have done in our class. But what happened in recent time, there was one amendment in IAS 16. There was one amendment in IAS 16. So first we need to understand what was amendment in IAS 16. IAS 16 used to say, amendment made in IAS 16, what they are saying, provided deduction of proceed of item produced during the testing from cost of an item of PP. So they have given that they provide deduction of proceeds of item produced during testing from the cost of an item of PP. Means due to this amendment, now as per IAS 16, means as per IAS 16, such deduction is not allowed. Such deduction is not allowed. So one clarification has been added as an amendment under Ind AS 16. It will be allowed under Ind AS 16. Means it will not be transferred to PI, it will be deducted from cost price of PP only. So one clarification has been given that whatever amendment has been done in IAS 16 is not relevant for Ind AS 16. Understood? So one clarification has been given. What was the clarification? You can see para 17E has been amended by adding a clarification that excess of net profit from sale of item produced during the testing will not be credited to PL, that is, it will be deducted from the cost price of property, plant and equipment only. Means whatever we have done, that is only relevant. Amendment is in IAS 16, so only one clarification was required as related to Ind AS 16. Understood? Correct. But can I say due to this, there is one carve out. There is some difference between Ind AS 16 and IAS 16. So one, there is, I will say, it created one carve out. It created one carve out. Understood? I hope you remember carve out. Now carve out is not important from examination point of view, but such carve out is given in ICAI study material. Now whether it is important, not important, that we don't know. Correct? Yes. I hope you are understanding. So this differential treatment in IAS 16 and Ind AS 16 has led to a carve out which will have consequential impact on depreciation, impairment and deferred tax. Understood? Correct? Yes, sir. Second amendment is related to Ind AS 37, related to onerous contract. We have done in our class that that Ind AS 37 is not applicable to executive contract unless it become onerous. Correct? Now onerous contract are those contract where the expected benefit from such contract is less than expected cost to fulfill such contract. That contract will become what? Onerous contract. Understood? Now Ind AS 37 will be applicable to such contract. Now Ind AS 37 says that provision should be created for an unavoidable cost. What is unavoidable cost? Unavoidable cost is lower of cost of fulfilling the contract and penalty to exit from the contract, penalty payable to exit from the contract. This much we have done. Now what was the amendment? Ki what will be the cost to fulfill the contract? There was no clarification given in this regard ki what are the costs included to calculate a cost of fulfilling the contract. So now they have added one point to clarify ki what are the costs to fulfill the contract. Understood? Correct. Already a question has been given related to this in previous RTP, means just check RTP of November 2022. A very good question has been given in RTP of November 2022, which I am expecting in this attempt. Correct? The question you can do from RTP November 2022. I have already discussed that question in my previous RTP discussion, means RTP of November 2022. So I am expecting that question in exam. Got it? Yes, sir. So what they want to say, he has been inserted which clarify that cost needed to be considered in the cost to fulfill the contract while determining whether the contract as onerous. Correct? Yes, sir. So what they are saying, as per this amendment, both the incremental cost to fulfill the contract and allocation of directly attributable cost will form part of cost used for determination of onerous contract. Means cost to fulfill the contract will include incremental costs. Incremental costs are those costs which cannot be avoided. Correct? Are you getting what I am saying? So incremental cost to fulfill the contract and allocation of directly attributable cost will form part of cost to fulfill the contract. Understood? Correct. So this is one amendment which may be important from examination point of view. After this there are some more amendment, but if you read you will be able to understand. From my point of view, these amendments are not important from examination point of view. I am not discussing that now because already we have done discussing our previous amendment classes. Got it? Yes, sir. So this I will say all the amendments related to CA final financial reporting paper applicable for May 2023 exam. I hope you have understood. Correct? Yes, sir. One more announcement I need to do, that I'll be coming soon with my expected question list. Means I have already given the expected question list from for May 2023 exam, but I am getting a lot of messages from my students, sir, please also try, means please solve this question in what, in one either recorded video or live classes. So I will be soon coming with my expected questions which I will be solving in the video. Correct? Understood? So that is my upcoming video. I will update you about that expected question video in my Telegram channel. So do join my Telegram group as well as channel. The link of the Telegram group and channel for the update is given in the description of this video. So please join the Telegram channel because all the updates will be given in that only. Thank you very much for today. We'll meet soon in again video. Till then, bye bye, take care, enjoy your preparation and all the best for your exam. Bye bye, take care.